Hi, my name is Ariel from the Children of Karma, and today I'd like to discuss the defense mechanisms of the water signs. And the water signs, their issue is mainly about attachments, the fear of loneliness, the fear of extinction. And I mean, you'll see them go either way. It's wanting to bond and have relationships with others, or avoiding them altogether, for that dependency, that realizing that you're dependent on that other person for something can also turn those water signs off, and they can go in the opposite direction and not want any relationships at all. They can substitute it with other things. So they still have this attachment, but they can attach to other things depending on what sign it is. They have certain things that they're drawn to. Like that Cancer is ruled by the moon. So for example, you're not going to see a Cancer person go to a place that is unfamiliar to them without feeling a lot of anxiety within the body, because the moon rules over the body. So a lot of these emotions will show itself throughout the body. That anxiety can show with the stomach issues, can deal with insomnia, anxiety, irritability throughout the body as well. And sometimes with a Cancer too, they can stay in relationships because it's comfortable, because this is someone that they've known in the past, that they know how this person operates. So sometimes it's like they can perceive that there is closeness and warmth here because it's a past connection, but say it gives you only crumbs. Say that this is a relationship that actually doesn't provide any warmth. It's just the warmth of the familiarity of the bond that maybe that sign is going towards. And when they realize that they can cut off those connections, they can feel even like humiliated within that they've allowed themselves to bond so much with this other person, and they're not able to be fulfilled by that bond, because they give so much of themselves to that union. And yeah, it can be very upsetting when you realize that that other person is actually not going to be there for you in the way that you anticipated. The sign of Cancer can also turn to food for comfort. That physical nourishment can also satisfy some emotional discomfort as well. If there are issues with this sign, or it's very heavy Cancer, it can lean towards that, maybe even going up and down in weights throughout their lives. Even I've definitely dealt with this, and using food as a way to find comfort. The body is wanting something, and the mind, especially if you've got a mix of air as well, it's like, well, no, I don't want to sink into the emotion of this, but the body does. The body is still there, feeling all of these things. So it's still responding to all of that pain, but maybe an air sign will want to not even acknowledge it. So there's a disconnect there, restricting self of food because of that inner humiliation of needing something. And I definitely, this even, this is a little bit of the Pisces, but this can also go for substances and not wanting to need a substance. It's feeling humiliated that you need a substance to function, so you may cut off substances just for that reason. It could be something like this too, cutting off food for this reason. With Scorpio, cutting off that connection to God. Cancer can also avoid relationships that may get in the way of that mother-child bond as well. It could be about the mother as well, that person doesn't want to split from that mother. Or it could be that you search for relationships to kind of just get you away from the mother. Maybe there's an inability to escape. It could also be about the source. trying to find connection to that source. With these water signs, you can see too that they can lean to religion as well, spirituality, if not religion. And typically when we're young, we try to go towards what's conventional and see, what makes sense. And sometimes none of it makes sense. And then we have to find our own connection, our own meaning. And that can be interesting with a sign of Scorpio, because Scorpio will connect more towards that sense of spirituality, even towards the metaphysical, and wanting to see what's underneath the surface. It's looking at the dark matter, the gray matter, and seeing what it is. It's interesting too, because I always felt like that dark matter was spirit, like spirit exists in the dark matter, and the other matter that it's around us, it's always around, and it's just that we cannot perceive it with our eyes. But that Scorpio will search for that source, because that source provides everything that they feel is needed. That source can, even in some respect, provide even more than what a human can provide. Scorpio can be an isolated sign. It in a way can idealize a situation to preserve a fantasy within that relationship. Because what the reality is not it's not as intense as what that Scorpio wants it to be. Scorpio wants an intensity that can last, but it's just not possible. This is why they go towards religion anyway, because this is an idealized figure, and it's not something that can be easily destroyed in someone's mind. It's like takes a lot to really destroy that person's sense of spirituality. So especially when it's rooted in something really, and not the conventional. It's like you found it on your own, so it's a little bit weird. It's very hard to remove that kind of connection. That also replaces that mother to child or father to child, that parent-child union. With God, it's like it's either the Earth Mother or it's Father God. So it's like mimicking that original partnership that we had with the parents, and we're searching for something. And the thing is with Scorpio, there's pride. There's a ton of pride, and then there's just not wanting to feel powerless, not wanting to be powerless. So also the relationship with God is not going to cheat on you. You're not going to get these kind of things from that relationship. So it's safer to stay in this place. There's nothing wrong with it, but it is safer to hide here. When you do get into relationships, you can deal with possessiveness. Possessiveness is a thing that Scorpio wants to know that they're safe, that they can, just safety. Safety comes before trust. They need to feel safe. And how do they know that they can trust you? Well, consistency. If they see consistency from you, then they're happy. That's the part of the relationship's always so intense in the beginning, and then the intensity goes away. It's kind of like, no, you're fooling me. You're fooling me. It was intense in the beginning of the relationship, and now it's not. So you've changed. Don't blame it on the Scorpio, okay? I can see what they're talking about here with it just feels unsafe. It feels like it's a power dynamic that you can give and take, or you can give more intensity or take back your intensity depending on how you feel, or if you want to manipulate me. The Scorpio is sensitive in that way. It cares about the power dynamics. It's very sensitive to the power dynamics. So I think if you come consistently, that person can trust that you're a safe person to You know, they can be possessive at times too. So this is another thing. Clear boundaries need to be set. And I think right away, as quickly as possible, before the fantasy begins and then that person gets carried away with what they think it's going to be versus what it is. Pisces will lead towards things like music and poetry and substances even. You know, it's wanting to recreate that state of ecstasy within the womb, you know, just a state of peace and connectedness with source. It's like a state of ecstasy. They're trying to protect their paradise, which is their walled off garden of delights. I love that. I love that that's the meaning of paradise. They're just trying to protect their space. And so they can avoid relationships just to protect that state of ecstasy and peace. And it's like nothing will compare once you've experienced that, you know, nothing will. No human can compare. So this can be the problem with the water sign, is that you get so lost in that relationship with spirit or with the other things that you forget to participate in life. You can lose it, you lose your mind. You know, don't forget to come up for air every once in a while and speak to someone, speak to an earthly human. And yeah, I mean, especially nowadays, it's so difficult. But find someone who you know won't disturb that peace. That peace is very important right now. Hopefully you have someone in your life that can provide that level of nourishment that you need. But if not, I'm a big advocate for doing it for yourself. When you turn back that energy, because the water signs are so good at making someone feel special and seeing them. You're good at seeing the things that other people can't see. And I mean, once you do, just stop the faucet, you know, stop the faucet, stop giving to others and give to yourself. And when you do give to yourself, like you'll really start to see your giving nature. You'll see what it's made of, you know, that when you start to give back to yourself, they're like, now I do this for myself. I do these little things that I know I will like. I'm a big planner. So I like when I prepare things for myself the next day. And I think that's romantic. I'm being romantic to myself. And I think, wow, you know, I love this. I love being in a relationship with myself. Do it for yourself, and then you really start to see the value in self. And then you won't have these relationships that you're holding on to just for little bitty crumbs. And then you feel unfulfilled because you're busy giving to them. Give to yourself for a little bit. Yeah, and it's okay to say no to others and not to fuse with them. That's absolutely okay. Don't worry about this, oh, you're an avoidance stuff. Like, forget that. No one really knows your life, and they don't know the experiences that you've come through. Maybe you do need to take a break from others. Maybe you do need to focus on self. Like, who knows what's really going on in your life? Only you. So that's the thing with the water sign. Sometimes we can take on so much of what other people are saying as like, oh, well, maybe I'm wrong. You know, maybe they have the answers. And no, they don't. You have the answers. You know, listen to yourself. Okay, the water signs are very intuitive. So yeah, I think I'm done rambling now. Thank you for joining me for this video, and love to see you at the Children of Karma, where we can work through ancestral patterns. I'd love to see you there, and don't forget to like the video. Bye.